Hey, what's up? It's Wick for WickieMedia, and today I'm going to talk about the API Vision channel strip plugin by Universal Audio. And they did a really good job modeling the whole console, from the preamp section onto the dynamic section, the EQ section, so it's a really versatile plugin. They have modeled 5 different modules from the console, so let's take a look at the different modules that we've got. On the left we've got the microphone preamp, and below that we've got the filter. In the center we can find the expander gate, and below that the compressor limiter, and on the right we've got the EQ section with the 4 EQ bands and an output gain. On the 212L preamp module we can find the input gain. And this gain really got all the non-linearities of the transformer and the amplifiers modeled the way they can be found in the original console. So this really gives that analog saturation to your sound. Besides the gain, we can find a 20 dB attenuation knob, a phase reverse switch, and a VU meter as well. Below that, we've got a low pass and a high pass filter in the 215L module. The low pass has a 6 dB per octave slope, and the high pass has got a 12 dB per octave slope. We can enable or disable both filters at once with the on-off switch, and we can move the output of the filters to the sidechain input of the dynamics with the SC button right here. Then we've got the 235L expander gate module, which is really known for its fast attack times. We've got a threshold value from where the gate starts working, and we can set the attack between fast and normal. Fast is a 100 microseconds attack time, and normal is a 25 milliseconds attack time. The depth controls the attenuation of the signals below the threshold, and this goes up to 80 dB of attenuation. This is only when we have the module set to gate mode. When we have it set to expander mode, the gate applies a downwards expansion with a fixed 1:2 ratio. We can select if we want to expand or gate our signal with the expander gate switch. With the release/hold knob, we can set the release and hold time of the gate expander. The hold mode is only available when the module is set to gate mode. We have a fixed release time of 100 milliseconds when we have hold selected. The meter displays the amount of gain attenuation. Below that, we've got the 225L compressor limiter module. With the threshold, we can set from where that the compressor starts working, and besides that, we've got the attack. We can select a fast, medium, or slow attack time. We can choose ratios from 1:1 all the way up to infinity to 1, which gives the compressor its limiting effects. And then we've got a release with a range from 50 milliseconds all the way up to 3 seconds. We can choose between a hard knee or a soft knee. For the sidechain, we can select 2 different types of circuitry with the new-old switch. The old uses a feedback and the new uses a feed forward, and both providing 2 different types of gain reduction. The meter on the side displays the amount of gain reduction by the compressor. Notice that we don't have a gain makeup knob. That is because there is a auto gain makeup, and this automatically makes up for the gain reduction by the compressor. We can bypass each of these modules with their own on-off switch. And whenever there are modules that you don't need to use, you can bypass them to save some processing power. On the right of the dynamics module, we can find the 550 L Equalizer module. We've got 4 bands, a high frequency band, a high mid, a low mid, and a low frequency band. We can select the frequency of each of the bands with the blue inner ring of the knob. With the outer ring of the knob, we can select the amount of attenuation or gain that we're applying. Per default, we've got a high shelving and a low shelving band as the outer bands, but with the HF and LF switches, we can select either of these to be a peaking instead of a shelving curve. With the SC sidechain switch, we can route the equalized signal to the sidechain input of the dynamics modules. This will remove the equalized signal from the audio path. Per default, we have the EQ circuitry after the dynamics in the signal flow. With the pre-dyn, or the pre-dynamic switch, we can select the equalizer to be before the dynamics. This allows us to do some advanced routing techniques. And finally, the EQ section can be turned on or off with the on-off switch. On the output module, we can find our output meter. Below that, we can find the output gain, which is a uncolored type of gain. And this ranges from -24 all the way up to +12 dB. The SC link, or the sidechain link, is used for stereo signals, and this links the left and the right channels of the sidechain. With the power switch below that, we can bypass the whole plugin and all the processing is disabled. So as you can see, it's got a lot of different functions and a lot of controls. Let's insert it in a project and let's see what it can do and how it sounds. So I've got my Cubase project loaded up right here. and I've got the API inserted on the drum tracks, and I've got the kick drum in solo, and I've got the whole channel strip right in front of me right here. Let's take a look at the mic pre, which is the first module right here, where we've got the microphone input gain, which is really giving that nice harmonic distortion and saturation to the signal. And we can boost it quite a lot, but we can already see we get some clipping on the VU meter, even on the peak meter as well. So I can actually use this minus 20 dB attenuation and throw up the microphone gain all the way up. So this actually means that we're getting the most saturation and harmonic distortion. But I can also dial it back for now, turn that off. And see that I can gain it up all the way to around here. Yeah, that seems to work. So let me bypass it, see what this does. Not only does it make it louder, but it also is adding that harmonic distortion, really giving it a more full and saturated sound. So I can lower the output gain if I want, and play around to get it sitting in the mix a lot better. Let's take a look at the filter modules, which are below that. We've got a low pass and a high pass. We'll need to turn it on. And they're both sweepable, so we don't have these, like with the EQ, that we have these pre-selected frequency bands. We can actually sweep this filter. So we've got the low pass right here. All the way up to 500 Hertz. And we've got the high pass here. All the way up to 600 Hertz. Let's play around with the next module, which is the expander gate. I can turn that on. I need to play around with the threshold, so I'll always set it all the way down, so it's completely silent. I've already put it on fast, because if I put this kick drum on normal speed for the attack, I'm really missing the original attack of the kick drum. It really sounds unnatural, so I need to put this on fast. Made this release really fast as well. It's really leaving a lot of the signal intact. Can increase that release a little bit, but then we get some of the snare back. Really depends on which mix that we're putting it in. So that's the expander gate. Let's take a look at the compressor limiter with this vocal that I've got right here. To understand filters and equalizers, we'll need to understand sound and frequencies. I'll turn this onto fast, so now I'm a lot faster in the attack time. To understand filters and equalizers, you can see that in the gain reduction meter. It's grabbing the peaks a lot faster now. To understand filters and equalizers, we'll need to understand sound. To understand filters and equalizers, you can see it does a pretty good job with the auto makeup gain. To understand filters and equalizers, we'll need to understand sound and frequencies. You can hear that it is compressing, but it doesn't sound so obvious as a lot of other compressors do. So it's not coloring that much. To understand filters and equalizers, we'll need to understand sound and frequencies. A lot more subtle. To understand filters and equalizers, you can see it's a lot more aggressive. It directly goes into the full ratio of the compression when it's on hard. When it's on soft, it gently gets into the compression. To understand filters and equalizers, we'll need to understand sound. I'm going to turn off the compressor limiter, and I'm going to take a look at the EQ section right here. And I'm going to use that on, let's use that on the kick drum again. So let's take a look at the EQ section right here. I've just turned it on. And we've got 4 different bands with fixed frequency. So that's something that you'll have to, get used to working with. So we have these fixed frequencies, which we can select by either clicking on the frequency or by moving around the blue knob. You can see that right here, which is sometimes hard to grab. So it's easier to actually click on the frequency that you want. So this works a lot better for me, I guess. So we can set this to be a peaking or a shelving type. And the hard thing that you'll have to get used to is that the gain always goes in increments of 2. So here we can attenuate 2 or add 2, but there's no 1 dB that we can add. So that's something that you'll have to, kind of get used to, which is really that API thing. So we've got that on all the other bands as well. All the increments go in 2 dB. We cannot select a position in between. So we always have that. And the same goes for the low shelving, which again we can set to be a peaking with this knob right here. Now it's set to a peak and now it's set to a low shelving. So we can play around with both of these. So I can set this, let's put this on I don't know, 200 Hertz. And remove all the lows. Or maybe 50 Hertz. Something like that. Then we've got this band right here. You can definitely notice that the more gain that we apply, the narrower that the band gets. So it's got this variable Q value, which is really famous on all the API EQs. And yeah, that's something, again, that you'll have to learn working with. So we got a lot more specific frequency group that we're equalizing when we have these higher boosts or higher cuts. So we get a really smaller bandwidth. And then on the right, we've got the meter and the output gain. So this is a clean gain, so this is no saturation or harmonic distortion. So that's something that you could do if you compress it that much that you can actually boost up the output gain. But I would personally use the input gain a little bit more. But then again, if we're using a compressor, we're driving it into the compressor a lot harder. So that's something that you will definitely have to, fiddle around with. That if you later decide that you want to add more gain, that you will probably have to adjust your compressor a little bit as well. So it's something that, goes hand in hand. So what is the best way to start using this API Vision channel strip on your mix? The best way and the best results are when you actually insert this on all of your tracks. Like I said in the beginning, you don't even have to turn on all the modules. If you turn all the modules off, that will save you a lot of processing power from your UAD card. And just use it as a coloring tool with the preamp can already definitely enrich your mix and give a, API type of sound to your complete mix. So it's a pretty good coloring tool, not only for the EQ compressor and the gate and the filters. It's a working horse. It can do a lot, including saturating and coloring your sound the way that the Vision normally would do that when we're working on that. So it's a really cool plugin, and Universal Audio did it again. I hope you guys have enjoyed this complete walkthrough. I noticed that it's quite long, but it's quite a big plugin as well. So I hope you guys have learned something and have enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Peace!